Welcome to Trash Talk with Bre and Jess.
We are here to provide fun entertainment for ourselves and others to enjoy.
We are not professional therapists, nor do we claim to be.
All topics discussed are by personal opinions and our personal experiences alone.
We are an open forum, however, we will not tolerate any type of social bullying, derogatory name-calling, or hate speech.
Also, just a friendly reminder, our discussions are 18 plus. We tend to cuss like sailors and make inappropriate jokes. We definitely do not want to be held responsible for crotch goblins listening to inappropriate things we say.
And just for the record, we are the only ones allowed to trash talk to each other.
Thank you for watching or listening. We hope you enjoy laughing at us as much as we laugh at ourselves. Sincerely, the ladies of Trash Talk.
Is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Maybe I am. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to Trash Talk with Bre and Jess. Tonight we're covering unsolved murders. We're going to cover a famous one each and then do some local ones here in our home states just to kind of bring some awareness to it. Before we get into the episode, though, Bre has some shout outs that she wants to do, and then she's going to cover just the top, is it 10 or 12? I don't know. She'll cover up
10
whatever 10, whatever there is, she will cover that. So go ahead, Bre.
Hi guys, welcome back. So we have mentioned in a few previous episodes that when we get feedback, that we will full force give thanks back by giving you guys a shout out, reading your message. We received a message, and I don't have exact permission yet. So I'm just gonna read the message, and we will say who it is later on, or we'll put the name up, or we'll do something after we get permission, because I didn't think about it until right before. But I want to make sure that, you know, she knows and that she's appreciated by sending us this message. So this is from a friend from high school. She graduated either a year before me or 2 years before me. So she was, I think I met her like my freshman, sophomore year. I can't remember, but it was years ago.
High school years.
So, anyways, I received this message out of the blue. Hi there. I've watched a few of your podcast episodes and I love them, especially the mental illness. I can relate. I enjoyed the killer obsession. It was really interesting learning about the serial killers. I still have to catch up on episodes, but you and your friend Jess are doing a great job. That is what keeps us going.
Yeah.
Those very subtle, very, this is why we do it. Like, we're not doing it for any other reason but because we want to make people happy. We want to give people enjoyment and enjoy things that we enjoy discussing. So it was, and that was out of the blue. I haven't talked to her in years. We've been friends on Facebook for a really, really long time, and we'll comment on our things here and there, but we haven't had a conversation. So, the fact that, I went to school with her, I was friends with her back in high school, and I get a surprise message like that is meaningful to me. That means we're doing our job. And so I really appreciate that message that we got. It is really greatly appreciated that you sent me that message. It means a lot to both of us. It really does.
It does. And before you get into the next one, I just want to do a quick shout out. I didn't even think about it, so I'm totally interrupting this. But I know she doesn't care if we say her name. She's known as Tiny. Or I won't say her real name because we really don't talk about her real name. Let's just say we call her Ashme. But in the Discord, she every week has said, really good job, guys, ladies. You do, there's always some type of compliment about well done. So, and that's in our Discord. So remember, you guys can, join and put comments there and
if
ask
I
us
remember
questions.
correctly, also she's a mod in both of our Discords too.
Yeah.
So
as well as Trash Talk.
As long as
But
MGS.
Yeah. So we really do appreciate you, Tiny, and your compliments, and just knowing that you're watching every week with the little one. We know life gets hectic, so
that baby is cute. Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to add that. So back over to Bre.
Back over to me. The second one we are going to give a shout out to is my friend Chelsea. Mine and my wife Rachel's friend Chelsea. If you guys have noticed, we have a new layout.
I didn't notice.
Oh,
Did not notice.
how did you not notice?
I know, right? It's just like
Chelsea is by
yes.
far amazing. She is incredible. We actually didn't even ask her. I asked her for some ideas she can think of. She watched our episode. It was funny. She watched our very last episode, and then she gave us, some very positive feedback about how the background doesn't really fit us. It doesn't fit me or Jess, and it actually really opened our eyes and made us think, like, you know what? She's right. Like, it really doesn't fit us. We don't sit here and drink tea. We don't sit here. I mean, I have cherry water over here.
I have my circle water.
I drink coffee in the morning, but by the time we're recording, we're not drinking coffee. We're not drinking tea. We're literally sitting here drinking water.
Pretty much.
And we're doing nerdy shit. So the fact that she gave us that really good feedback, and then as she was sick as a dog, not only did she watch our episode, but she sent me some ideas because Chelsea is, she makes notepads like for letter writing and stuff.
Yes.
And they are gorgeous. They're beautiful. And I am going to ask her 100% if I can throw her website up on here.
Yeah.
Go check her out if she allows us to. Like, go check her out because she is incredible. And we didn't even ask her to design anything for us.
No.
She literally just sent me like 4 of them and was like, "What do you think of those?" And they were ones that we didn't even think of. We were like, why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we think like talk show hosty type things, or when people are on the radio and they're sitting like in those rooms behind the glass with like a mic and some headphones like Jess is wearing, and they're just bantering back and forth like at a table like Joe Rogan does.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan just sits at a table with some mics and he's like, "All right, go for it, guys." Like, we didn't even think about that. And so this new layout, the wording, the mic.
Yeah.
Only thing Jess added was our frames, our camera frames. Everything else was Chelsea.
And what's funny is I believe I kind of mentioned like a talk show, or like we kind of both mentioned before Chelsea even did any of this. We're like, well, it's more like a talk show or radio show or something. And the fact that she
to her either.
Yeah, and the fact that she came up with this was perfect.
Yeah, she's great. She is an incredible person. She is a full force single working mom, like kicking ass and taking names. Her kid is the cutest fucking shout out to Brody. Brody,
oh,
got you, man. He's so cute. He's adorable. He's witty. She's doing good with that one. But yeah, so we just wanted to give those couple of shout outs that we want to generally show that we do appreciate everything that comes our way, guys. Like, it's hard, especially this day and age when you've got so many people streaming, so many people doing podcasts, so many people doing this and that, and the fact that we are getting the views that we are getting, like we said, we don't care if we have 1,000 views, we don't care if we have 5 views, but the fact that we are getting such great feedback and shown that we are appreciated, that's why we do this. That's why we love doing this, and we wouldn't do it without that support. That's how we are where we are, that's why we do it, because we have that support.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to take the time to say thank you to Chelsea and to my other friend. I'm hoping that we can pop her name up there.
Yeah.
And
if not, that's okay too. Don't feel like bad that you don't want us to do. That's completely fine. We understand. But we do want to offer you the recognition that we are trying to give you and that you deserve. So
to show you the appreciation.
Yeah. So if we appreciate you. If and when you do leave a comment or whatever, if you don't want your comment or account name or anything like that up there, just let us know. But we will do a shout out to you guys.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about it, but I could say her first name. I don't have to say her last name, but I can say her first name, and it's my friend Lauren.
Okay.
Like I said, I haven't spoken to her in years.
Yeah.
Just back and forth banter on Facebook, typical stuff. But so thank you again, Lauren, for that message. And again, we are going to get permission to put her message up there or at least post it in Discord or on our page somehow, because those are things we appreciate.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm just going to throw this in there. Not even Bre knows this. I just came up with it like off the top of my head. So if you guys notice, I yawn all the time. So if you can
Oh,
count how many
banana.
times I yawn in this episode, and you're right, the first person that comments with the right answer, you will get a Cincy car pod or tin or disc free from me. And if you know what Cincy is, it's a fragrance line. It has melting waxes, car fragrances, counter cleaners, everything like that. I am
I'll send
a
a squishy.
independent consultant. Okay, a squishy. You get a duck
I'll
squishy,
send a
and
squishy.
that's what we'll do. The fun person that can count how many times I yawn. And I yawn, and I go like this too. If you don't notice, I do this too and try to hide it, but it's not very well. So if you can count how many times I yawn in this episode, just this episode 7? Is this 7 or 6?
7.
Episode 7 only. Let me confirm that real quick. Let me just confirm
7.
that. Okay, 7. You'll win that from us.
Yeah, because Rachel got a notification for episode 6 last night. I don't know why. It was random.
Yeah.
But so this is 7.
So 7. Episode 7 only. If you can count how many times I yawn and you get it right, we will contact you and get your information, and that will be sent to you. Stop it.
I didn't do anything.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't. But
also on my end, I just mentioned it before, on my end, I actually do little Easter eggs too. And if you can point them out, figure out, it's always in my background. I always do something. There's always something changed. I'll give you a hint. It's nothing over here. Right here. Okay. It's always to my left and over. Okay. So if you can point out those, we'll send you some.
Yeah.
We're gonna write your name down and we'll give you something special.
Yeah.
It hasn't been thought of yet because she offered the Scentsy.
Yeah.
I offered a squishy. I mean, you'll get a new one. This one's sturdy, but you'll get a new one.
All right. Anyway, let's just go.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes,
before we get further on. Okay, so I researched some stuff, and this is from Time. This is
Wikipedia.
From Time Internet, not Wikipedia.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're not going to cover all of these because all of these have been done at least 100 million times. And if you haven't heard about half of these, you're living under a rock, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go over the top 10. We are going to cover 2 of these today. And then we are going to go over some ones that are local in our states. So Colorado, California. So number 1, Jack the Ripper. Number 2, the Zodiac Killings. Number 3, Tupac and B.I.G. If you do not know who the notorious B.I.G. and the Tupac thing is, you're definitely living under a rock. And I know Chelsea is over there screaming because she that's her music. That's her forte. She's over there. Oh my God! I could hear it. Also, coming in number 4 is the Tylenol poisonings, which I have never heard of until this.
And that was the year I was born.
That was intense.
Yeah, and that happened the year I was born.
So, number 5 is the death of Edgar Allan Poe. Now, trip out on this. I wish I had grabbed it. Oh, I hope you guys are keeping count.
You really should, because today's a doozy.
I had never known. Believe it or not, I have the giant book of Edgar Allan Poe, like everything he's ever written. Everything. I showed it to Jess one time. I'll have to take a picture and send it to Jess so she could put it up. But I haven't, and it's an expensive book, and I came across it somehow. I never knew he was an unsolved mystery. All the times that I've read his stuff, I just thought he died. I did not know he was an unsolved case. Number 6 is, if you are severely living under a rock or in a hole somewhere, if you do not know about this one, the Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman double murder O.J. Stinson case is number 6.
I remember the court trial on that when I was little. I remember my babysitter watched it. She was like glued to the TV. So.
Well, I mean, it may not be a murder case, but I mean, we've got a huge deposition case going on right now that's probably bigger than that.
Yeah.
But this one is still going. Isn't
Yeah.
the O.J. Simpson thing still
I think
going?
so. I
Aren't they
think
still
so.
trying to pin it on him?
I
I thought
wouldn't be surprised if they
I know he
were,
got arrested a couple of times
but it
for it,
wasn't for that.
but they haven't been able to convict him.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to look more into that for personal reasons, not for the podcast. Number 7, I have never heard of this either. The case of the disembodied feet.
Ooh.
Number 8. Um, so I didn't recognize the name, but I remembered reading the article on who it was, and it was John Benet Ramsey. Who is she, Jess?
The beauty queen in Boulder, Colorado, who we all,
A little beauty queen who was
I already
blasted
know who
everywhere.
I already know who I think done it. So
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. I
yeah,
mean, we can talk about it for a few minutes at the end of the podcast, but
yeah,
we're not going to cover the whole thing.
no.
We'll just say who we think it is. I have a feeling I know who it is. Okay, and then number 9 is the Black Dahlia.
Okay.
And number 10 is the Women of Ciudad Juarez, which is in Mexico. So, that one was a trip, and so was the disembodied feet. That one was like a what the fuck. So those are the top 10s. And like I said, we are only going to cover some of them. We are not covering all 10 of those because some
No.
of them are just overdone. We want to do stuff that is more not known. We want to do
Yeah.
cases that we hear about. There's a few that we've run across on TikTok that we actually want to look up ourselves, and because they give a lot of details, but they don't give all of the details because you can only fit so much in 3 minutes. So we do want to go over some of those. We send them back and forth to each other all the time. So starting off with our first one today, our first high profile one, which is still obviously unsolved. Who done it?
Yeah.
Um, Jack the Ripper, number 1. This is one I was obsessed with for a little bit, and my obsession came when the movie From Hell arrived.
Good movie.
I had never heard of Jack the Ripper until I saw From Hell,
Yeah,
and then
it's a
somebody
good
told me it was
movie.
based on a real story. And I was like, nah. So I researched it up, and sure as hell. So then I became even more obsessed with it a little bit, trying to figure it out because I like trying to figure out who done it. So we're gonna go into the story, and then I have a couple of facts that we talk about, and then we'll go into Jess's. So in 1888 was a bad year to be a prostitute. Between August 7th and November 10th of that year, 5 women were killed in the Whitechapel district of London's East End. Their throats slashed and their bodies mutilated in a way that indicated they all met their fates at the hands of the same person. One victim's kidney was even mailed to the police, along with a series of taunting notes penned by someone calling himself Jack the Ripper. Serial murder was a relatively new phenomenon, and the attacks were highly publicized. The law's failure to identify the killer led to such an outcry that both the Home Secretary and London Police Commissioner resigned in disgrace. Jack the Ripper, whoever he was, has been subject of hundreds of books and articles. The theories surrounding his identity vary from a covert mosaic plot to a member of the royal family. Here are the most likely suspects. So before we go into those suspects, there was an investigator, which is what From Hell is based upon. He was investigator Fred Aberline, who is played by Johnny Depp. And there was actually speculation from a few articles that I read that Sergeant Peter Godley, who actually, I don't know if that is a fictional name in the movie or if that was a real name used. I did not fact check that one, so if somebody can fact check that for me and get back to us, that'd be great. But there was a possibility that Sergeant Peter Godley, in one of the articles I read, was actually trying to pin it on Fred Aberline because Fred Aberline had gotten so close to finding out who Jack the Ripper was countless times that it was just too coincidental. But given back in the 1800s, they didn't have the investigative stuff that we do now. He had to literally go upon just instinct and knowledge, basic knowledge. And, you know, the fact that he was so knowledgeable, that's why Sergeant Peter Godley in the movie was trying to pin it on Johnny Depp and frame Johnny Depp, who played Fred Aberline, as Jack the Ripper. There was a fan theory later on, and again, I don't know if Sergeant Peter Godley is the actual name, but there was a fan theory that his character was actually Jack the Ripper and was trying to get the heat off of him and put it on the investigator. There is a fact somewhere, I don't remember the article where I read it, but it was years ago that I researched it, and there were a few possibilities like that with the investigators and the police department and the police commissioner trying to pin it on one another, and that's what caused speculation of who's Jack the Ripper, because nobody really knew. There was no cold hard facts on who he was. There was no actual evidence of why it was happening, why it was being done. There was no, there's no profile. So some of the suspects is Montague Druitt, a barrister with knowledge of human anatomy, rumored to be insane. He disappeared after the last murder. His body was later found floating in the river Thomas. I might have said that wrong, and I apologize if I did. Another was George Chapman, a barber who lived in Whitechapel during the time of the murders and was later found guilty of poisoning 3 of his wives. There's a huge possibility I'm wrong about that, but I think that's how Sweeney Todd came about. Not the actual
I think
cannibalism.
it's kind of based off of it.
Yeah, not the cannibalism
Loosely
or the
based off of it.
prostitution, but just
Yeah.
the barber itself killing people.
And who plays that?
Johnny Depp.
Oh.
Yeah. Aaron Kozminski, a Whitechapel resident known for his affinity for prostitutes. He was hospitalized in an asylum several months after the last murder. I read into Aaron, and he fits the profile of just I don't remember the exact story, but if I remember correctly, that's how he met his wife, and then his wife left him for somebody else, and when he had met her, he was the one that pulled her out of kind of like some Moulin Rouge shit, like, oh, let me pull you and save you out of prostitution.
Yeah.
And then she turned around and left him for another man, and so from then on, he just started going insane and killing prostitutes, literally. I think personally, of all the articles I've seen, I think it was him. I think it was Aaron. He fits it to a T.
Okay.
Doctor, not so much.
Isn't there speculation that Jack the Ripper left England and came to the United States, like New York, as well?
Or there was a copycat.
Or a copycat.
There was somebody who was so obsessed with Jack the Ripper that they copycatted him.
Gotcha.
Which happens. A lot of that shit
absolutely.
happens. Believe it or not, there's a lot of shit that happens like that. And so I found it fascinating because I was really determined to try and figure out who it was. I'm like, oh, I got it. Like, they should create a video game about that and just make its own ending story, because that, I would play that. I would. But that is it for Jack the Ripper.
Okay.
Who do you think did it?
I don't know enough about it, to be honest, so I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that one. Even more than what I know, because most of my knowledge of Jack the Ripper basically comes from hell. And then just, just little tidbits here and there.
My mouse died? I think my mouse died.
Oh, mouse died.
Oh, there it is. Found it. Nope, it did. Oh, there it is. Okay. But yeah. Yeah. If anybody watching this finds more information about Jack the Ripper, message me, because I have loved that story, not because of the killings, obviously, but just the determination of trying to figure out who it was. So if you know more facts, or if I've stated facts, feel free to correct.
Oh, absolutely.
I will personally not get mad. Correct us and like I said, I don't know if that's factual, if that's real stuff. Like, Sergeant Peter Godley. I don't know if that's a real person or character. I just know that there was an investigator who was trying to pin it, or there was a police sergeant who was trying to pin it on an investigator because he was so knowledgeable. He had like a background he had a doctorate in medicine. He had pretty much all the qualifications to be Jack the Ripper, for being honest. But
Okay.
and that's why there was like speculation
Yeah.
of him being Jack the Ripper. But again, he escaped.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Yeah. And if you have any facts or, know any tidbits on any of these that we cover, please let us know in the comments.
Or if you find one yourself, let us know.
Yes.
Let us know.
All right. I was going to do one, but I think because you said another one I'm not familiar with, I want to cover it. So, I'm going to cover the disembodied feet.
Oh.
I was going to do the Tylenol poisoning, but I think I want to go with the disembodied feet because I don't know anything about that.
So I have not read that one.
Oh, you have
haven't
not?
read that one.
Okay.
No, I didn't read it.
Okay, so this is new for
I
both of
figured
us
I would
then.
save reaction for
Okay.
and reread it. So, and I didn't read the Tylenol poisonings. The only reason why I know about the Tylenol poisonings is my coworker actually mentioned that she remembers that happening.
That's insane.
And I remember a little bit of it, but other than that.
Okay. Brightness on my face. I apologize. But anyway. Okay, so disembodied feet. All right. I'm debating if I have to yawn or not.
Oh, who's keeping count? I don't even know where we're at. I think we're at least 20. It makes me want to go. Oh,
I don't either.
Back.
I don't.
I'm gonna have to count.
Okay. Okay, I'm good.
Do I get to win a prize? I'm just kidding.
Oh, you get a prize, all right. All right. Okay.
What if I guess like a ballpark around how many times? Like, do I get like a high five?
Sure.
I'll say my answer at the end of the episode and see who's closest to me or who can count exactly what Jess has.
That means I might have to count when I'm editing this too. Okay, anyway. Since August 2007, 5 human feet have washed ashore near Vancouver, British Columbia. No bodies, no heads, no clothes, just feet. 4 left and 1 right. Nearly all still clad in sneakers. Canadian authorities have yet to determine how the feet ended up there or why, though DNA tests match one of the severed feet to a man who'd been missing for several months. A number of theories have been tossed around, including the possibility of foul play, though coroners familiar with the case say ocean currents and decomposition could have naturally separated the feet from their owners. Others speculate that the remains might belong to 4 uncovered victims of a 2005 plane crash off Quadra Island. In June, a prankster spooked local authorities of planting a gruesome surprise for one unwitting bachelor, a rotting animal paw stuffed inside an Adidas shoe. The most recent discovery was made in November, when another foot turned up in Washington, less than 50 miles south of the U.S.-Canadian border. As to why there have been so few leads, police spokesperson Charlene Brooks told CNN, "We suffer from the CSI effect. People think we can do things faster than we can." But a Vancouver panhandler told Bloomberg News he's already cracked the case. "I'll bet you it was a murder. You just don't find feet lying around." Well,
damn.
Okay. There's that. That's creepy. But I mean,
yeah, I didn't know it was. That's when I graduated. That's right after I graduated high school.
Yeah. So there's really not. Yeah, there's really not a lot of information to go off of. I mean, talk about unsolved murder.
Literally.
I mean, it could be a murder.
I tried.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's a murder, like they said. It could be from a plane crash, but it is very uncanny and peculiar that it's feet.
I think they're
4
dumping
left
them in the water.
And 1 right.
I think they're dumping them in the water.
Disembodying the bodies, and absolutely. I mean, that's something I want to look more into, see if there's anything.
Oh yeah, because even I was reading the first paragraph where it says in June, a prankster spooked the local authorities by planting a gruesome surprise. I feel like that's a copycat.
Probably. probably. And it was an animal paw, which is totally
Yeah.
don't kill animals, people.
Yeah,
But
no.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean, I'm not for killing people too. Just for the record, I don't approve of that. I'm just very
huh?
I'm a little bit overprotective of animals though,
No,
because
you?
they're like children and the elderly. They're helpless. So
Wow.
all right, and so that's that. So what do you guys think? Do you think it was somebody who murdered them? Do you think it was the victims of a 2005 plane crash off Quadra Island? What do you think?
I think people are dumping bodies and trying to make a statement. That's what's going on.
Could be.
I think people are dumping bodies in the ocean.
Yeah.
I like oh my god, what's that show? Um the guy who's the blood analysis. Oh my god, I'm gonna hate myself for not remembering what the show is called. He literally chops them up. He kills bad people and he chops them
Mhm.
up and then takes them on his boat and then dumps them in the ocean in the same
Yeah.
spot. I forget his name and it's gonna piss me off. Damn it. But yeah, that's I feel like that's what's going on. They're dumping bodies in the ocean. They're trying to send a sign to somebody like a not like a gang, well maybe like a gang thing, like a mafia gang thing.
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, you can be sleeping with the fishies.
Right?
Okay. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a few of we found some short articles. Specifically I found a website from San Diego County Sheriff's Department for missing persons. So we figured we'd do a few of these. Because there's these go date and age like from 1967 to most recent, like I don't know. I can't even tell you when the closest one is, but I figure we can cover one of them and go from there. Oh man, I dropped my squishies.
Yeah. And I will put
Um,
their pictures on the screen with the dates they went missing, the age that they went missing if that's provided, and
yeah.
numbers to contact at the end if you have any information for those authorities that you can contact.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So um first is Nikki Benedict. And the location was in Poway, California. She went missing on May 1st, 1967. So the whole introduction or the synopsis, I should say, is San Diego County Sheriff's Homicide Detail is asking the police help to find the person or persons responsible for the death of 14-year-old Nikki Benedict, found stabbed on a dirt road more than 45 years ago. 45 years ago. Um, During the early evening hours of May 1st, 1967, Nikki Benedict was walking home from a friend's house when she was critically stabbed and left to die on a nearby dirt trail in the 12700 block of Poway Road, Poway. At about 6:30 p.m., an 11-year-old boy was walking to his home when he discovered Nikki Benedict lying on the roadway critically injured. The boy immediately reported what he discovered to his father, who owned a market nearby. Uniformed deputies, Poway Valley, that's a mouthful. Uniformed deputies, Poway Valley Fire Department, and ambulance personnel responded to the scene. Emergency personnel rendered medical aid and she was transported to Palomar Hospital, where she was pronounced deceased upon arrival. Although an extensive investigation was conducted, investigators never determined a motive and no visible suspects were identified during the original investigation. As the case remains unsolved, cold case detectives continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding the murder of Nikki Benedict. However, detectives still need the public's help to identify the suspect. Okay. So, yeah, it doesn't say anything other than she was just stabbed to death. So, I mean, that's not a good thing, but it's a good thing that nothing else happened to her when she
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
That's the only positive thing out of this story, and it's really really sad that she was only 14 years old.
That is sad.
That was that was 2 years. That was a year. My dad was only 1 year old. I'm almost 2. My stepmom was 1. Yeah. Ah, there's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so.
There it
Again, if
was.
if you're watching this and you know you remember something from this incident, like
Yeah.
please reach out to the sheriff's department. I mean, the possibilities of it being 45 years ago and finding new evidence back then compared to now, it's slim to none. But we would still
Yeah.
like to put that out there and hope and pray that something comes up to where her
Yeah.
family, her family can get some peace of mind. You
Yeah.
know,
And we're going to cover things back then, but we're also going to cover more recent ones as well in this series because those are more likely, to have something. But we don't want anybody to think that they're not important just because it happened so many years ago.
yeah,
So
they're just as important, and that's mainly why we're doing it too. Is they
yeah,
deserve to be heard too. They deserve to be spoken about.
yeah,
That they're not forgotten. That there are people out there like us that do read their files, and that we do, are pique an interest and try to find and see if there's any evidence or anything more other than that. And of course, it being 45 years ago, that's going to be a hard one. But the least we can
yeah,
do is mention it and talk about it.
exactly. All right.
Over to you, Missy.
Now, this one was suggested by my father, who is a retired police officer. And this actually happened the year before he joined the police department. So, and this is still unsolved to this day. And this is like the one that unsolved it, stuck it out in his mind. So, this is in the Pueblo area, Pueblo, Colorado. This is about Sharon Marie. I'm not sure if it's Cope or Cop. It's COPP. Um, On August 16th, 1976, a fisherman discovered a plastic bag on the banks of the Pueblo Reservoir containing human remains. Hours later, another plastic bag was found containing more remains approximately 20 miles away on Pueblo's east side. The investigation quickly identified the remains as Sharon Marie Cope, a 34-year-old mother of 3 girls. Sharon Cope have been had been beaten and sexually assaulted, and it was determined that she died from blunt force trauma. Anyone with information regarding the case is asked to contact the Pueblo Police Department. So this is kind of eerie because I live within 10 miles of the Pueblo Reservoir, which is where they first found the remains. So not only did they beat her, sexually assault her, and everything. They disembodied her body and spread it around the entire county. And the fact that this was done in 1976 and it's 2022 right now, and it's still an open, unsolved, it's crazy. They don't even have her height or her weight. They have no idea what her date of birth was, which is kind of weird. Um,
I was
but
gonna say, a family? No.
it's just not on here, so I don't know. But it's just the fact that people have the capacity to do this and stomach for it. It's just baffling.
Mm.
So,
Psychotic.
mhm. All right, and that's all I have on that one. Over to you for your next one.
All right. This one I chose more closer to date.
Okay.
So on the list that I have, they go from like 1967 to most recent 2009.
Mhm.
So what I figured I'd do is I go from the very bottom of the list, and for the second one, do the very top of the list.
That makes
So the
sense.
next one I have is from 2009, and that's Mickey James Guidry. It's Guidry. Um, and I apologize if a family member, a friend ends up watching this and I butchered his name. I really do apologize. Um, I'm not a perfect reader, by no means. Um, so The synopsis of this: he went missing in Borrego Springs, California. San Diego County Crime Stoppers and San Diego County Sheriff's Department Missing Persons Unit continue to look for leads to help locate Mickey James. I'm not going to butcher his last name again. So, Mickey's family has increased the reward up to $3,500 for any information that may lead to his whereabouts. Mickey was last seen on the afternoon of November 27, 2009. He had spent several days with friends in an encampment at the mobile and RV. Okay, it's just a typo. Mobile and RV park located at 5491 Split Mountain Road in Borrego Springs. Mickey's Jeep Grand Cherokee was found abandoned and inoperable near Pinyon Mountain. Mickey was born on August 3rd, 1993, and was 16 years old at the time of his disappearance. He was described as a white male, standing 5'9" and weighing about 155 pounds. He was brown hair and blue eyes. Again, so young.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of information. I kind of want to look more into him and see if we can cover some more information on him for part 2.
Yeah.
But he's my height. I'm like slightly taller. Let's see. In 2009, I was 19. He was 16, so he's 3 years older than me. Jeez. It's so sad.
Yeah.
So sad. And I wish they'd be able to give more information, but that's all they got.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And he's so young. He's so young. It's so sad. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
But the shit like this happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are just crazy out there. And the majority of the time that we do these episodes, like, I had my coworker ask me, why serial killers? Why cold case files and stuff like that? And I was like, well, before you think I'm crazy, I'm not a serial killer.
Yeah.
I'm more about the psychology of it.
Yeah.
What leads to that? And we've mentioned that in our killer obsession episode. What leads to get them to that point?
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a show that we have gotten my brother into watching. It's called Blacklist, and there was an episode that there's an episode called The Good Samaritan,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy was literally abused, like domestic violence abused by his mother, somebody who's supposed to love and protect him. And so what he was doing is he's a nurse, he's a floating nurse. So what he would do is when domestic violence cases would come in, whether it be a child, a wife, somebody who was battered, he would take the person who did it and he would copy the injuries that he put on that person. He would go and research their file, like, because he had options to do so. And so those are things that I'm interested. What leads to that? Were you just born this way, or did something happen to you to cause you to get to that kind of psychotic level of I'm gonna hurt somebody? What is it? Like, what causes that? And so I was trying to explain to my coworker that's what it's about. It's about the psychology of it.
Yeah.
I want to know the stepping stones that leads a person to get that angry, that hatred in them, or are they just pure evil, like Richard Ramirez,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or Jack the Ripper? Like, what leads a person to get to that level? Where, because I know I get mad, but I don't get mad enough to where I'm gonna like fucking kill people. Like,
I hope
but
not.
then again, that's why I play video games. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kill CPUs.
Find different
No problem.
outlets.
CPU.
Different
No, yeah.
outlets. Different outlets.
Yeah, different outlets. So that's
Okay.
just it. That's just incredibly
Yeah.
sad. But moving
All
on.
right.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry about that, Mickey. I
So,
hope there's something pops up.
my next one is in the Boulder County. This is Sidney Lee Wells. Sidney Lee Wells, on August 1st, 1983, was found deceased in his residence. The cause of death was determined to be a gunshot wound. And there's really no information other than that, other than contact the Boulder Police Department. It's kind of sad saddens me a little bit that there's not a lot of information here to go on. Like, there's no height, no weight, no occupation. We have a date of birth. He was 22 by a gunshot in his residence, so he was shot. So, yeah.
There's no information, like,
His
or
alias
century. Or where did he die?
in Boulder.
Like, but where? Like, did it say in his house? Was he
It was in
just
his house.
found?
It was deceased in his residence.
Jeez.
So that, I mean, we could speculate it could have been in like a robbery or a break-in or home invasion, but there's just no information.
Yeah, there's no information.
So,
Yeah, I tried looking up on Nikki Benedict to see if I
yeah.
could find anything, and
Yeah, there's just nothing.
there's nothing. There's nothing, and that's the only sucky part about doing these is like we want to give information. So maybe something that sparks in somebody watching this, they spark it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I remember."
Yeah.
Nothing, like nothing. I don't know. A part of me, like growing up, really wanted to be a detective, but I don't think I could stomach the seeing the dead bodies.
No,
Like,
I don't think I could either.
I would rather be like the person that can go investigate, like, and put the evidence together, but not have to see
Yeah.
the bodies.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. Like, I wish there was just more information. Like,
It makes you
that's where
kind
my
of,
frustration lies.
course, it's unsolved.
Yeah.
There's no information. It's sad.
I feel like they're not looking hard enough. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not
I mean,
an
in some
investigator.
cases, that's probably the case. I'm not gonna lie. Let's be real, people. But I don't know.
Laziness.
Competence.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, it's sad. All right.
That's just terrible. It just makes me sad that there's like so many people out there that are just like innocent, do nothing wrong, and then they're just like victim instantly.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
It's just,
There
like,
was.
there's.
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there was like a couple weeks ago here in my town where a man was shot. He was just walking his dog, doing nothing else, and he was just shot randomly.
There was one there was one murder that held my attention, and it's really fucked up, and it's like it's like one of those stories where you're like, okay, do you commend this person for doing what they did considering what they went through, but does two wrongs make a right? And at the same time, like, you're watching it go down, and it's the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, she was literally forced to play a special needs person and made to think that she was sick.
Yeah.
And all she wanted was just to live her life, and her mom's like, no, you're gonna be sick. And it's like, it's one of those cases where it's like, okay, with all the mental abuse and physical and medical abuse that she's succumbed, like, is she really wrong for what she did? But at the same time, it's like, well, okay, two wrongs don't make a right there, because the mom's not wrong. She should have went to jail, but at the same time, how was she to escape?
Yeah. So it's like it's more like, should she have done it? No, but you can understand the reasonings why what led her to do it.
Exactly, and that's where I'm like, it's like, where do you side on something like that? Where you're like, okay, you're sitting in the courtroom listening to what she went through, physically, mentally, like, this girl for how many years was abused physically, mentally, medically, like, in all aspects, not being able to be who she wanted to be, and and it's just incredible. It's just incredible. She was born in 91, so she's 30 years old. And she actually lives in Golden Meadow. But that's just, and it just makes me so sad that none of her family members thought it to be weird. Like, all those doctors, like, she just fell through the cracks. Like, nobody thought it suspect that, she would, as soon as a doctor becomes suspicious, just pick her up and move her to a new county. Here's all her old cold case. Here's all
System's
her
broken.
cases. This is all what's wrong with her. Like,
Yeah.
seriously.
System's broken.
I was seriously broken. Like, I was watching, I don't know if you've seen the show, but I've seen the show and I've seen the documentary on it.
I have
And I'm
not.
like,
I just saw a little
all
bit of the
these people,
documentary on YouTube.
if you haven't, honestly, if you have not seen the documentary or the show, I suggest watching it.
Yeah.
Because it's really, the documentary is what I saw first. So
Yeah.
it's one of those that is just like, what the fuck? Like, and there's people still out there like that, and that's what makes it crazy. That makes it so crazy. But yeah, that's insane. So, other than that, do we have any more? Is that it?
I think that's it for today.
No. You guys have to stop listening to us.
Just put us on mute. I do.
Just mute us and just stare at us.
We just kind of do that anyway to each other. So it's like, sorry, were you
Pretty
saying
much.
something? No, but this is a series that we want to get more in depth and cover for sure, and include some,
Yep.
high profile, along with, more known, and then also some unknown in our states, just to
Oh
kind of get
yeah.
some awareness out there to try to help
Or even one
what
in your
little we
state.
can.
If you
Yeah.
come across one in your state that you know of, or that found all the information on, like, let us know. And again, we'll give you the credit. I mean, we've shown that in our past episodes and in this episode, like, we don't mind giving credit where it's due, like, at all. Like, we appreciate the help, because sometimes we draw blanks. Like, we're like, huh, what?
I
Like,
think we're
what do we talk about?
I think we're pretty much both, if you know Bre or myself, we're not so self-centered focused that like we need the credit. We don't. We actually welcome the help, the assistance, the suggestions, because
We appreciate it. It
we
helps
want to
us. It
cover
helps us.
things that you guys want to hear as well, not just things that interest ourselves, but if there's something
Well,
that
yeah, because
interests you.
you guys can literally come up with a topic that we didn't even think of, and you pique our interest.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to, like, reach out. Don't be afraid to message in the comments. Don't be afraid to message on Discord. Like, we have 2 sections also. Ask Bre, ask Jess. So ask us questions, and if there's enough questions, we'll answer them live. While we're recording, we'll answer them, or we'll do a Q&A live.
Yeah, and
if we get more people.
Yeah, and we're not opposed to having guests on the show.
Nope. If you'd like to be on the show, if you see a topic that's popping up for that month, and you're like, hey, I've got some opinions on that, come on over.
Yep.
It can be worked out. If you're local towards me, or if you have Discord, we can work it out to where, we can make it work to where, you're in there too. Like, we're not opposed to sharing the screen.
If you don't want to be on
we don't
camera,
like being on screen anyways.
Yeah, you don't want to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera. We can just use your audio. We can talk to you audio wise.
You
through
can
Discord.
literally just sit here and we'll just put your name, like, in a bubble above us or whatever. Just your name, and then you just sit here and chat with us. Like, we don't mind that all either. We have a few episodes where we are gonna have guests with us. To talk about certain subjects that we're not too familiar with, but also that we want company. So that's where we're at. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to message us. Like, we appreciate it. We really do. Ask us questions, and this one over here asked me a question. I just saw it, and I was like, "What would you do for a Klondike bar?" And I was like,
I wouldn't do a damn thing for it, to be honest.
I wouldn't either.
I was just trying to put a question in there, like, well, what would you do for a Klondike bar? I don't know.
I mean, we'll do, if you want to ask us dumb questions like that too, we'll take them. We'll take them. Ask us stupid questions. But just reach out to us. Don't be afraid to communicate with us. We like it. We appreciate it. If there's changes you think that we can make, like I said, we took Chelsea's suggestions and made those modifications. And those are things that we appreciate, because we can only get better with everybody's help. Or we can't do this alone. We can't do this without you guys, and that's the bottom line. We can't do it without you guys. So
I mean, we
We're
could,
open
but
to
we
it.
wouldn't be as successful. We'd be pretty
Exactly.
much boring.
It would just be me
And
and,
we might be
Jess
boring
every day
now. I
talking
don't
to each
know.
other.
I mean, you never know. Contact
I
us.
don't know. I think we can get by
Information.
with my dumb faces. The stupid faces I make.
Yeah. All of our information's in the info panel below. Join Discord. Follow us TikTok, Twitter, you know. Or, just chill and
Girl.
hang out and watch the episodes if that's what you're cool with. Make sure to subscribe, though, and like the videos so we know
I
we're
was just
doing
about to
something
say that.
right.
You beat me to it.
Yeah. So,
If you haven't already, please
yes.
give us a like, share,
Share,
and subscribe.
talk shit to us in the comments.
Do it,
We
please.
welcome the talking shit. Chances are you're gonna
We
get
talk
a smart ass
shit to each other.
response.
That's why it's called
If it's a
trash
smart,
talk.
if it's a
We
smart ass,
trash talk each other. Like,
it will
I
be.
know in our disclaimer we talk about, bullying and stuff, but there's a difference between trash talking us and just full on being a dickhead.
Yeah. And if it's
No
a
other way to
smart
put
ass
it.
comment or question, pretty much guarantee you're
we
gonna
take
get a
it.
smart ass bullshit answer. Just so you know.
Yeah.
You dish it, we'll dish it right back.
Oh
So,
yeah. We do it every time we game with our two guy friends.
Yeah.
They talk shit. One of them specifically talks shit, and we just dish it right back.
Mm-hmm.
Even when we're live, he'll pop in our chats and sit there and talk shit, and we just talk shit right
He's
back
like,
to
"Are
him.
you
Like,
kill
we love
zombies
it.
yet?" I'm like, you know what? Fuck off. I'm busy. It is what it is.
We love it. We really do. We 100% love it. Go in our Discord. Go in our Facebooks. Go on our Instagram. Do we have an Instagram?
We don't, but we could have Instagram. I have not set that up yet, but we can. We do have a TikTok.
Oh, it's a Twitter.
We have a Twitter. We have TikTok. We have Twitter. Instagram. That can be done. Not hard to do.
Oh, we have.
So
Yeah.
no.
You can do that.
So maybe
Or
by
if
next
you know
time.
us personally, reach out to us. Snapchat, whatever. Messenger, TikToks, our personal TikToks. Do it.
Chances though, if you message me on Snapchat, it might be a little while before you get a response, just because I don't Snapchat.
I don't send her shit on. Don't.
It might go a day or two.
I have to text her or message her on Messenger, like, "Hey,
check Snapchat." I'm like, oh.
I sent you something stupid. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And with that said,
guys.
This is Stupid signing off. Wow. Like, whatever.
Like, you can see if I face it that way. No.
I mean, I can still see it. Just doesn't make me think you're talking to me.
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. So,
all right, guys.
Anyways, with that being said, guys, we really do appreciate you being here. Appreciate you hanging out with us. So, until next time.
Bye.
We'll see you later.